Most people fail the CCNA 2026 on the questions hiding near the end of this round, and you are about to face every one of them. Here's the game. 22 real exam-style questions. Read each one. Lock in your answer before the timer reveals it, and keep a running score. They get harder as you go, and the ones that trip up the most test takers are stacked near the finish. Make it to the end with your streak alive, and you will walk into the real exam ready. First question is up now. Question 1 of 22. An on-site service desk technician must verify the IP address and DNS server information on a user's Windows computer. Which command must the technician enter at the command prompt on the user's computer? Option A show interface. Option B ipconfig/all. Option C netstat r. Option D ifconfig a. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option B. Exam logic. The ipconfig command with the all switch displays full IP configuration details, including DNS servers on Windows. Show interface and ifconfig are used on Cisco devices and Linux respectively, not Windows. Question 2 of 22. Which characteristic differentiates the concept of authentication from authorization in accounting? Option A consumption-based billing. Option B identity verification. Option C user activity logging. Option D service limitations. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option B. Why it works. Authentication validates user identity. Authorization, accounting, and other concepts like logging or billing are related but distinct. Eliminate options focused on permissions, tracking, or billing to select the proper verification mechanism. Question 3 of 22. Which JSON data type is an unordered set of attribute value pairs? Option A string. Option B array. Option C boolean. Option D object. Decide on the strongest option before the reveal. Stay with your gut. The answer is option D. Key Q. A JSON object consists of an unordered collection of attribute value pairs enclosed in curly braces. Arrays are ordered, strings represent text, and booleans represent truth values. Question 4 of 22. A router has two static routes to the same destination network, each with a different next hop address. If both routes have the same administrative distance and metric, how will the router forward packets? Option A. The router chooses the route with the oldest age. Option B. The router chooses the next hop with the lowest IP address. Option C. The router chooses the next hop with the lowest MAC address. Option D. The router load balances traffic over all routes to the destination. Make the call before the reveal. Hold the line on it. The answer is option D. Behind the answer, when a router installs multiple routes to the same destination with identical administrative distances and metrics, it performs equal cost load balancing across the available paths. The router does not select a path based on arbitrary criteria like the oldest age or lowest IP address. Question 5 of 22. A network engineer must configure an access list on a new Cisco iOS router. The access list must deny HTTP traffic to network the IP range shown on screen from the IP range shown on screen network, but it must allow the IP range shown on screen network to reach the rest of the IP range shown on screen network. Which configuration must the engineer apply? Option A. IP access list extended deny outbound 10 permit. The IP address shown on screen. The subnet mask shown on screen. The IP address shown on screen. The subnet mask shown on screen 20. Deny TCP. The IP address shown on screen. The subnet mask shown on screen. The IP address shown on screen. The subnet mask shown on screen. EQ 44330 permit. IP any option B. IP access list extended deny outbound 10 deny TCP the IP address shown on screen. EQ8020 permit IP the IP address shown on screen. 30, deny IP any log. Option C, IP access list extended deny outbound. 10, deny TCP the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen, the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen. EQ 44320. Deny TCP the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen, the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen. EQ 44330. Permit IP the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen, the IP address shown on screen, the subnet mask shown on screen. Option D, DIP access list extended deny outbound. 10, deny TCP the IP address shown on screen. Any EQ8020 deny TCP the IP address shown on screen. EQ83 permit IP the IP address shown on screen. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option B. Reasoning. Extended access lists must be ordered from most specific to least specific to prevent unwanted traffic from being permitted. Option B correctly denies port 80 traffic first, allows the broader network range, applies accurate wildcard masks, and uses an implicit deny rule. First quarter down. Tally your score so far because the gap between pass and fail is built right here. Question 6 of 22. What is the primary purpose of a first-hop redundancy protocol? Option A. It allows directly connected neighbors to share configuration information. Option B. It reduces routing failures by allowing Layer 3 load balancing between OSPF neighbors that have the same link metric. Option C. It allows a router to use bridge priorities to create multiple loop-free paths to a single destination. Option D. It reduces routing failures by allowing more than one router to represent itself as the default gateway of a network. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option D. What the exam tests here. First-hop redundancy protocols provide default gateway resilience by allowing multiple physical routers to share a single virtual IP and MAC address. If the active router fails, the standby takes over seamlessly, eliminating single points of failure. Question 7 of 22. If a switch port receives a new frame while it is actively transmitting a previous frame, how does it process the frames? Option A. The new frame is delivered first, the previous frame is dropped, and a retransmission request is sent. Option B. The previous frame is delivered, the new frame is dropped, and a retransmission request is sent. Option C. The new frame is placed in a queue for transmission after the previous frame. Option D. The two frames are processed and delivered at the same time. Decide on the strongest option before the reveal. Stay with your gut. The answer is option C. Exam logic. Switch ports use memory buffers to hold outbound frames in a queue. If a frame arrives while the port is busy transmitting, the switch stores the new frame temporarily instead of dropping it, sending it once the current transmission finishes. Question 8 of 22. Which 802.11 management frame type is sent when a client roams between access points on the same SSID? Option A. Reassociation request. Option B. Authentication request. Option C. Association request. Option D. Probe request. Make the call before the reveal. Hold the line on it. The answer is option A. Why it works. A wireless client sends a reassociation request frame when moving to a new access point within the same extended service set. Standard association frames are only for initial connections, whereas reassociation specifically handles the roaming transition. Question 9 of 22. What is a function of TFTP in network operations? Option A. Transfers iOS images from a server to a router for firmware upgrades. Option B. Transfers a backup configuration file from a server to a switch using a username and password. Option C. Transfers configuration files from a server to a router on a congested link. Option D. D. Transfers files between file systems on a router. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option A. KeyQ. Trivial File Transfer Protocol is commonly used to transfer iOS images and configuration files without requiring authentication. Options mentioning passwords or local file system transfers are incorrect because TFTP relies on simple UDP file transfers. Question 10 of 22. Which role does a hypervisor provide for each virtual machine in server virtualization? Option A, infrastructure as a service. Option B, software as a service. Option C, control and distribution of physical resources. Option D, services as a hardware controller. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option C. Behind the answer, a hypervisor provides control and distribution of physical resources like CPU and memory to virtual machines. Software as a service and infrastructure as a service refer to cloud computing delivery models, not hypervisor functions. Halfway there. From here, the difficulty climbs and most people tap out. Beat them by staying in. Question 11 of 22. Which QoS profile is selected in the GUI when configuring a voiceover WLN deployment? Option A Platinum. Option B Bronze. Option C Gold. Option D Silver. Decide on the strongest option before the reveal. Stay with your gut. The answer is option A. Reasoning. The Platinum QoS profile is used for voice traffic in Cisco wireless deployments to ensure strict prioritization. Bronze, silver, and gold profiles are intended for lower priority background traffic or standard data applications. Question 12 of 22. Which type of hypervisor operates without an underlying OS to host virtual machines? Option A Type 1. Option B Type 2. Option C Type 3. Option D Type 2. Make the call before the reveal. Hold the line on it. The answer is option A. What the exam tests here. A Type 1 hypervisor, also known as a bare metal hypervisor, runs directly on the host's hardware to manage virtual machines. Type 2 hypervisors require a host operating system, making them incorrect. Question 13 of 22. A network engineer is installing an IPv6-only capable device. The client has requested that the device IP address be reachable only from the internal network. Which type of IPv6 address must the engineer assign? Option A IPv4 compatible IPv6 address. Option B unique local address. Option C like local address. Option D aggregatable global address. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option B. Exam logic. A unique local address is intended for internal communication and is not routed on the public internet. Link local addresses are also internal but cannot route across subnets, making unique local the correct choice. Question 14 of 22. What is a characteristic of RSA? Option A. It uses pre-shared keys for encryption. Option B. It is a public key crypto system. Option C. It is a private key encryption algorithm. Option D. It requires both sides to have identical keys. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option B. Why it works. RSA is a public key crypto system that uses a pair of keys for encryption and decryption. The other options describe symmetric algorithms like pre-shared or private keys, which require identical keys on both sides. Question 15 of 22. Which type of security program is violated when a group of employees enters a building using the ID badge of only one person? Option A intrusion detection. Option B network authorization. Option C physical access control. Option D user awareness. Decide on the strongest option before the reveal. Stay with your gut. The answer is option C. KeyQ. Physical access control manages and restricts entry to physical locations like buildings or server rooms. Sharing an ID badge violates individual accountability and defeats the authentication mechanisms at the door. 3/4 in. The toughest stretch is right here, so do not let your streak slip now. Question 16 of 22. Which port state processes BPDUs but does not forward packets or update the address database in Rapid PVST+? Option A blocking. Option B learning. Option C listening. Option D disabled. Make the call before the reveal. Hold the line on it. The answer is option A. Behind the answer, Rapid PVST Plus uses the blocking or discarding state to process BPDUs without forwarding data or learning MAC addresses. Listening is a legacy STP state, while learning updates the MAC table. Question 17 of 22. An engineer is configuring a switch port that is connected to a Veep handset. Which command must the engineer configure to enable port security with a manually assigned MAC address of ABCD? ABCD on voice VLAN 4? Option A switch port security MAC address ABCD. Option B switch port security MAC address ABCD VLAN voice. Option C switch port security MAC address sticky. Option D switch port security MAC address sticky ABCD VLAN 4. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option A. Reasoning. Port security is applied per interface rather than per VLAN. If a voice VLAN is configured, the switch automatically separates voice and data traffic. You simply specify the MAC address in the command without a VLAN keyword. Question 18 of 22. What is one reason to implement LAG on a Cisco WLC? Option A to increase security and encrypt management frames. Option B to enable connected switch ports to failover and use different VLANs. Option C to provide link redundancy and load balancing. Option D to allow for stateful and link state failover. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option C. What the exam tests here. Link aggregation on a wireless LAN controller bundles multiple physical interfaces into one logical path. This provides redundancy and load balancing. If one link fails, traffic continues over the remaining active links. Question 19 of 22. When the lag configuration is updated on a Cisco WLC, which additional task must be performed when changes are complete? Option A reboot the WLC. Option B flush all MAC addresses from the WLC. Option C re-enable the WLC interfaces. Option D reassociate the WLC with the access point. Decide on the strongest option before the reveal. Stay with your gut. The answer is option A. Exam logic. Modifying link aggregation changes how the controller internally bundles its interfaces. The system must reboot to properly initialize the new architecture. No manual MAC flushing or access point reassociation is required. Question 20 of 22. What is a characteristic of private IPv4 addressing? Option A enables secure connectivity over the internet. Option B complies with PCI regulations. Option C provides an added level of protection against internet threats. Option D is used on internal hosts that stream data solely to external resources. Make the call before the reveal. Hold the line on it. The answer is option C. Why it works. Private IPv4 addresses are not routable across the public internet. This non-routability provides inherent isolation and an added layer of protection against external threats. Private addresses do not inherently provide secure encrypted connectivity. Last few questions, and they are the killers most people miss. Finish strong. Question 21 of 22. A network administrator enabled port security on a switch interface connected to a printer. What is the next configuration action in order to allow the port to learn the MAC address of the printer and insert it into the table automatically? Option A enable dynamic MAC address learning. Option B implement static MAC addressing. Option C C. Enable sticky MAC addressing. Option D. Implement auto MAC address learning. Choose the best answer before the reveal. Commit to it now. The answer is option C. Key Q. Sticky MAC addressing allows a switch port to dynamically learn a MAC address and automatically save it to the running configuration. This secures the port without the administrative overhead of manually configuring static addresses. Question 22 of 22. Which statement about VLAN configuration is true? Option A. The switch must be in VTP server or transparent mode before you can configure a VLAN. Option B. The switch must be in config VLAN mode before you configure an extended VLAN. Option C. Dynamic inter-VLAN routing is supported on VLAN 2 through VLAN 4064. Option D. A switch in VTP transparent mode save the VLAN databases to the running configuration only. Lock in your pick before the reveal. Trust the read. The answer is option B. Behind the answer, extended VLANs are configured in config VLAN mode. Eliminate the other options because VTP mode restrictions and storage locations have specific limits that the distractors misstate.